Hello, sweet parents. Welcome to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away podcast. My name is Dr. Janet Steinkamp, and during each episode of When Our Adult Children Walk Away, I will provide my professional and personal insights, information and opportunities for your self-reflection and growth, tips and tricks to make every day count, and encouragement to keep moving forward. I'm here to help you dig deep and get down to the root causes so that you can find your way out of the darkness to a positive and lasting relationship. Grab your notebook and a pen, settle into your favorite chair, and let's get to it. In this episode, we are going to take a deeper dive into what is being referred to as emotional incest. Now, that term, to me, is a little bit shocking and honestly a little offensive. I have to remind myself, and I want to remind you, that this term is now growing in its influence in the context of today's culture and language. Physical incest is physical in nature. It's when a caregiver, a family member, engages in sexual activity with a minor, with someone that is not age appropriate. Emotional incest is similar in that it is emotional and covert, and there are unhealthy boundaries between an adult, a caregiver, someone who's close to this child, but has an emotional connection at an adult level, treats them as a peer and an adult. So the conversations are sexual in nature. There are no boundaries. They are based on the adult's needs and their wants and dreams and desires. It's very difficult to recognize emotional incest between a parent and a child because it may appear that they have a very close relationship and the inappropriate conversations are taking place in a private setting because they're in the context of emotional incest of such intimacy that they would not be common conversation in public, just like physical incest. It's a behind-the-doors event. Same with emotional incest. So when our adult children accuse us of emotional incest, what they're saying is that we, as the parent, treated them like a romantic partner, like a spouse, and that it was done to meet their emotional needs that would normally be filled by a different adult. Children are expected to carry the burden of these huge adult emotions and needs before they are ready, before they are mature enough. And it robs them of the ability to have child-sized emotions, to be exposed to emotions that they are able to manage and absorb and regulate. So when we push them beyond that, they are at a loss. They're not ready. They're not mature enough. They're not able to handle that size and context of emotion and need. Now, in some ways, we would call this having blurred boundaries or enmeshment, when one person does not end where another person starts, but it dovetails. Sometimes you'll hear people say, you'll know it's an enmeshed relationship because if you were drowning, your life wouldn't flash in front of you. Their life would flash in front of you. A combination of the two lives would flash before your eyes. So you're enmeshed. You don't separate your identity from them. Another thing that happens in emotional incest is that the child becomes the emotional caregiver. The child begins to feel like they are a parent themselves. If there are other children in the family, they become responsible as if they were the partner parent to raise these children in a way as a mother, not as an older sibling, but as a mother or a father. Their identity is skewed. They don't get to have the identity of a child in a family. They are the surrogate parent, if you will. So how would we know, how would we see, or what are some examples of emotional incest? How would we know that that was the dynamic going on? Or what might our adult children say to us was going on? So emotional incest would be, for example, when a parent overshares, and specifically about romantic needs or feelings, or talks about the relationship with the child as if it were a romantic relationship. When the parent discusses marital trouble with the child inappropriate. The parent should not be talking to a child in their family. And when I say child, I'm talking about, 18, 19, 20 and younger. These age groups are not ready for adult conversations around their problems in an adult relationship, especially when the partner is also responsible to that child, as it would be in a marriage or a divorce. It's when the parent puts their own emotional needs first and does not consider the needs or the potential damage their needs in conversation. You might see or look for or be accused of putting your emotional needs before your adult child's when they were a child. So when you were raising them. And that's not to say you go to the restaurant where you want to go to and not the child's. I'm talking about emotional needs, safety, security, the ability to have emotions that are not regulated and not be punished for them or have there be dire consequences, that you will be loved whether you make mistakes or not. Those are the kinds of safety elements and emotions that children need. The parent discounts them and puts their emotional need to discuss or be supported in their romance or their personal relationship or intimate relationship by the child. So maybe the child is forced to give up age-appropriate activities so that they can spend more time with the parent. Maybe they can't be in sports because they have to get home to take care of the parent and make sure the parent is okay. Again, there's that intimate element to it. So it may be when the parent gets jealous of the child's friends or jealous of the child's boyfriend, won't let them date, girlfriend, won't let them have a girlfriend, or when the parent will not give the child their own privacy or emotional space. They don't allow the child to be separate from them emotionally. It could be that the parent is venting or confiding in the child about problems at work. And again, the child's not ready for that. They're not ready. They don't understand. They have their own age-appropriate things that they should be working on in their emotional development. Our work as an adult is not the place. It is the intimate nature of that you would share with a spouse, with a romantic partner, with a person, an equal, that you would talk to about all of these things. The child cannot support you and respond in the same way an adult would. So why do people engage in this emotional incest? They may have their own unresolved mental health struggles. They might have boundary issues of their own and unhealthy boundaries in their history. Perhaps they were victims of emotional incest themselves or physical incest. It's not uncommon that emotional and physical incest go hand in hand. The adult might not trust other adults. They have some sort of arrested development that leaves them emotionally secure at a child level of development. So they're functioning at a much earlier age themselves emotionally. They may have an insufficient or unavailable support system themselves. They've never developed that. They don't have same age friends or family members that they can talk to or spend time with or socialize with. So it may be in the future that we have deeper conversations about this particular topic and dig into each one of those reasons so we can explore those a little more closely. It's likely that there are people listening that are thinking, man, that sure sounds like my relationship with my child. Am I responsible for this? Am I someone who had an emotionally incestual relationship with my child? And is my adult child right? Well, there will be opportunities to dig into this further. I want to say, when I first heard this term, my first reaction was that this was another socially diluted term, that it was a term that adult children had engaged to reflect things they were angry about in their childhood that would in the past have been called oversharing, fuzzy boundaries, lack of emotional sensitivity. Now we're really digging into this, right? So when I started doing my research on the topic, I realized that the NIH, the National Institute of Health, is defining this, that there's a description in the DSM, which is the Diagnostic Manual for Mental Health. It's what insurance companies insure for care of mental health issues. This is not a term to take lightly. It is not a concept to take lightly. This is real, people. The term, the words, may be as offensive to us as being accused of trauma and abuse. We have to understand that these terms are socialized differently. The meaning of the actual words is different. The concept is real. The concept is absolutely important to our children developing and growing into healthy, functioning adults, and to ensure that our relationships with them are healthy and age appropriate, that the boundaries are in place for us now as parent partners, as past partners who are now individuals in these people's world, or parents that they want to have in an appropriate role. So I appreciate you listening to this. This is a tough episode. It's a tough topic, and it's real, people. It's something we need to think about. Thank you for joining me in this episode. Thank you for joining me in my other podcast episodes. Consider taking a class. Consider joining our Facebook private parent conversation group. And again, write to me with your questions. My email address is janet@jesteinkamp.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I depend on getting your feedback, and I take it to heart. It's real for me. I do respond to email within, I would say, 24 to 72 hours. You should hear back from me. I am the person writing to you. I don't have somebody else answering my email. And if you don't hear back from me, it's because something's happened to the email. It's not because I didn't write. So either it got caught in a firewall or it's sitting in a junk folder. Somehow the email address was not correct. And so write to me a second time, or go to the website and send me a note in the contact feature of the website, so I get it directly to my email and I know that you're trying to get in touch. Again, janet@jesteinkamp.com. Thank you again for listening. I want you to know you're not alone out there. It takes some real courage to walk through estrangement and seek information and not sit and fester in the emotions and the grief that comes with estrangement. If you're listening to this podcast, you are trying to understand, and I am here with you and for you. So again, take care and be brave.